Lindell TV is pleased to present the Sentinel Report with your host, Alex Newman. Alex has written for a wide array of publications in the United States and abroad. He currently serves as a contributor to Epoch Times and foreign correspondent and senior editor for the New American magazine. Alex is the author of several books and has been a guest on countless radio and television programs and is a much sought-after conference speaker. Alex is best known for his reporting and research that has exposed the dangers and agenda of globalism. As the father of 5 children, Alex is working to defend faith, family, and freedoms from the hostile philosophies and ideas that are contrary to the Bible and the United States Constitution. And now, here is your host, Alex Newman.
I am your host, Alex Newman. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful day that the Lord has made. We have 2 very special guests for you today. Ollie London, detransitioned former transgender, sounding the alarm on some of what's going on across the world. And also Dr. Duke Pesta, the great college professor and the head of Freedom Project Academy. They had some protesters turn up outside their headquarters, and so we'll break that down for you in just a moment after some brief news. But first, a word from the Word. This comes out of Proverbs chapter 24, verse 16. It says, "For the righteous falls 7 times and rises again, but the wicked stumble in times of calamity." So take heart, folks. The wicked will face the consequences for what they are doing. We do have some really important news for you today. A lot going on in the world, including what seems to be a jihadist attack in North Dakota that the media is not talking about, and much more. But folks, first of all, as you know, if you watch this show or you're even paying attention to the real world, things are getting crazy very, very quickly. In fact, they've been getting crazier and crazier, and I suspect these things will accelerate unless God intervenes and puts a stop to it. But for right now, things are getting out of control. We've got fires, natural disasters, political disasters, economic disasters unfolding all around us, and nobody knows what might be just around the corner. And so the bottom line is you need to get prepared for whatever may come. I've been getting my family ready for years, and the company that I have used is My Patriot Supply. They're the biggest and the best in the industry, and we've got a special deal with them. If you go to preparewithsentinel.com, that's at preparewithsentinel.com, you can get 25%, actually $200 off right now, a 3-month emergency food supply kit. Incredible bargain, folks. $200 off every 3-month emergency food kit. I suggest that you get one for every member of your family. May seem like a lot of preparation, but folks, it won't seem like a lot if things get even crazier. You don't want to be stuck in a government food line, and that's only available through preparewithsentinel.com. That's preparewithsentinel.com. Get yourself ready. Get your family ready. You have no idea what's coming down the pike, and neither do I. But at preparewithsentinel.com, you can get what you need. $200 off every 3-month kit, plus free shipping, plus it comes in an unmarked package. Folks, get ready. Don't be sorry when the proverbial excrement hits the fan. You don't want to be caught up in the masses. Now, in news, folks, you probably have heard rumblings about this, but you might have noticed that the hysteria surrounding COVID is back with a vengeance. There's new variants, there's more deaths, there's who knows what, and it looks very likely that they're going to be trying to bring the COVID tyranny back in the very near future. In fact, InfoWars has sources from the Department of Homeland Security reporting that the Biden regime is getting ready to bring back the face diapers, the lockdowns, and all the rest of it. Steve Bannon over at War Room says the federal government's already purchasing COVID-19 equipment. They're hiring advisors on COVID safety protocols. This is not good, folks. And they've got images of the contracts there. Some of it's from DOD. Millions of taxpayer dollars being used for this equipment. So, get involved, get ready. You do not want to be stuck in the COVID craziness that we had again, and it looks like they're bringing it back just in time for the 2024 election. Wow, what could possibly go wrong? Now, over in North Dakota, I mentioned briefly mass shooting that the media is very suspiciously not talking about. Several police officers shot, at least one dead. Pretty amazing. Now, the body camera footage actually shows this gunman opening what police are describing as a barrage of gunfire raining down on North Dakota police as they respond to reports of what seemed like a routine crash. The suspected gunman, Mohammed Barakat, he had 1,800 rounds of ammunition, multiple firearms, tactical gear, a grenade, homemade explosives, and more. He killed 23-year-old police officer Jake Wallen and injured 22-year-old police officer Tyler Hawes and 28-year-old Andrew Dotas. He is a Syrian refugee, moved to the United States about a decade ago. He also shot a woman fleeing the scene before he was finally shot and killed by Officer Zach Robinson. And ask yourself, folks, every time a gun goes off in this country, it's like on the front page of every newspaper. The media's in full freak-out mode, and yet here you got multiple cops dead, multiple people shot, 1,800 rounds of ammunition, and not a peep. I wonder why. All right, folks, that does it for that. We'll keep you updated on the story as we learn more. Over in Oregon, the far-left governor has just signed a new law that would fine people $6,000 potentially for just praying outside of abortion clinics. That's Democrat Governor Tina Kotek, and not good, folks. Big fines coming. And she says in a statement that we need this, right? We got to protect people. The law also requires that medical insurance providers cover transgender surgeries. Our second guest, Ollie London, is going to break this down for us. Prohibits the Oregon Medical Board from interfering with doctors who are doing this, from removing their license if they chop off private parts from children. What's going on the left coast is just hard to believe, but God help us, right? All right, folks, stay with us. We're going to be right back with our first guest, Dr. Duke Pesta. Stay tuned.
You're watching Lindell TV.
There's a better way to do legal. Just imagine, for less than $1 a day, being able to pick up the phone, talk to an attorney about any kind of law, not have to worry about $300, $400, $500 an hour. If it's IRS tax issues, if it's child protection investigations, if it's weaponized government coming after conservative Christians, if it's freedom of speech issues, if it's gun law, if you own a business, we could help. Click the link below or simply go to shieldmyrights.com. Again, that's shieldmyrights.com. On that site, you'll find educational videos. You'll find more about the services that we provide. And more importantly, you could schedule an appointment for one of our consultants to reach out to you to help you understand exactly how we can protect your rights. Again, my name is Daniel Gonzalez. It was a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you so much, Mr. Newman, for allowing us to share. Have a great day, everybody. And God bless America.
Are you worried about spike proteins and how they may impact your health? Are you looking for help? The Wellness Company has an answer in the form of our clean, pure, all-natural spike formula developed by experts like Dr. Peter McCullough. The Wellness Company's spike formula includes the incredible nattokinase, dandelion root, black sativa extract, green tea, and Irish sea moss. Even better, the spike formula by the Wellness Company is vegan, gluten-free, and made right here in the U.S., so you know that you can trust and rely on it if you're concerned about spike proteins. Buying American-made, natural ingredients of this quality separately will cost you over $100. Our Spike formula is only $65.99. Get Spike formula today by going to twc.health. Sentinel Report users use the code Newman at checkout for an additional discount. Go to twc.health, promo code Newman, and get peace of mind if you are concerned about spike protein.
Welcome back to the Sentinel Report, folks. Our first guest today is Dr. Duke Pesta. He's the executive director of the Freedom Project Academy. He's the host of the Great Dr. Duke Show. He's also a tenured English professor at the University of Wisconsin. He's one of the nation's foremost authorities on critical race theory, the dangers of Common Core, the federal takeover of education. He's given more than 1,000 talks in 48 states. Dr. Duke, welcome to the program. Thanks so much for joining us. So I understand you guys had some wackadoodle protesters outside Freedom Project Academy headquarters. Tell us about it.
Yeah, we had a crazy situation. I was giving a talk on critical race theory. We were talking about the LGBT agenda in the schools. And we had a couple, when we say protest, this is an organization called Freedom Road Socialists. I don't know if you've heard of them, Alex. They formed in 1985. They're a radical Marxist, Leninist, communist organization. And so it's kind of funny. Appleton is not a terribly political city, Appleton, Wisconsin, but we had two scruffy-looking protesters standing by the Freedom Project sign, holding signs about hate. And what I love about this, Alex, is the person who came into the building dressed in very rich clothes. She had $400 pair of shoes on. She drove a brand new car. She came in, she sat down, and ironically, she sat right down next to my wife and started chatting her up. And my wife immediately recognized that she was a plant. She was recording the situation. She was engaging my wife in silly chat to try to get my wife to say something stupid. And it was very interesting to listen to this when after my wife told me about this. She was trying to get the trust of my wife, and she was talking about clothes, how she had a daughter in an expensive college in Washington, D.C., who's been given over to the leftists, and she wanted to sit here and listen to this. So she stayed for about an hour. She recorded everything. And the funny thing about this, Alex, the article that was written by Fight Back News, this is the media
Reagan, throw that up on the
wing
screen if
of
you would.
Freedom Road Socialism. Yeah, if you could, you can see that there. And you can also probably see a look at the two protesters that were actually there. So bottom line is that when she came in, she drove away in her nice car. She taped over an hour of our conversation, my lecture, and didn't include a single, Alex, not a single quote from what I said. Here's what she actually says. Pesta's talk, sponsored by the far-right hate group Moms for Liberty. So now Moms for Liberty, Alex, who you've worked as well as I have worked with them, wonderful women, they are now a far-right hate group. Was billed as discussing extreme sex ed, CRT, social emotional learning in the schools. Pesta is a tenured professor at the University of Wisconsin and a prominent member of the infamous John Birch Society. So we are both infamous, and we are also a radical ideologue. And what is so stunning about it, if you were back in the 1920s and you were reading Marxist cant, you were listening to Marxist jargon. Here we are 100 years later, and they're using the same stupid adjectives. If you're against the left, you are reactionist. It is stunning. The thing that I think has the most laughs about it, if you have a chance to read this little article, it's Fight Back News, is it said, of course, that our talk was racist, sexist, homophobic, and, are you ready for it? Anti-communist. So I'd like to give them a piece of advice.
Are you a secret anti-communist?
Oh my goodness. I'm an overt one, Alex, just like you. So my advice to her is, you're going to lose all your followers unless you drop the communist. All you got to do is call somebody a racist, and the whole world comes to an end. But when you end your list with the word communist, this is my free advice to them: stop calling yourself communists, because no one's going to take you seriously.
Yeah, and I volunteer. I do this regularly. I volunteer to buy them a first-class one-way ticket to Havana or Pyongyang or the communist utopia of their choice, and they can live it up there for 6 months and then come back and beg our forgiveness, kiss the floor that they walk on, and recognize how good they have it. Dr. Duke, amazing. They got two whole protesters to come out. I saw the sign protesting against transphobia. For our listeners who weren't able to see that, they got two ragamuffins standing in front of the sign. It is telling that they didn't quote one iota of your talk. My guess is because it didn't support their fake news propaganda. Without being a lawyer, I'd suggest you probably have a pretty good case for libel here. That's a lot of very nasty adjectives that are demonstrably false. But it is what we're dealing with. And Duke, final thoughts. How do people get involved? How do people resist these Looney Tunes before they take down our country? And how do people follow you?
Well, what you got to do is you've got to stand up to them. You've got to call out what they're doing. I mean, they're throwing around, like you say, fake epithets. They're made up things. You got an hour and a half's worth of tape, and you've got no quotes. This is an agitating group. This is a dangerous group. So pay attention and continue to support groups like Alex and Freedom Project Academy and Lindell TV. The better we treat these organizations, the more we rally around these kind of conservative events, the more difficult it will be for the left and these literally it's a Lenin Marxist group trying to undercut what we're doing. So just be alert.
Amen. Dr. Duke, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Alex.
All righty, folks. Dr. Duke Pesta, extraordinary genius on the front lines of the culture war, battling the Marxists, and obviously all two of them in Appleton are very upset. So go follow that work, folks. I work closely with Dr. Duke. Actually, I'm on the board of the organization that does the Freedom Project Academy. Great school. I taught there for 12 years. I can't say enough good things about it. And I'll tell you what, Dr. Duke is really getting under their skin, which means he is effective. Stay with us. We'll be right back with our next guest, Ollie London, talking about the transgender mania and how we can stop this at the state level here in our country.
You're watching Lindell TV.
Are you concerned about your child's education? Are you considering removing your children from the failing public schools? Greater Than I Ministries can help by giving you 15% off our Thinking Like a Christian Biblical Worldview video series and a free home educator's kit as a bonus for your purchase. This powerful video series will thoroughly equip you and your family with the truth that you need to fight the battle of ideas warring against our families. And our free home educator's kit will instantly connect you with the resources you need to take control of your child's education. Just go to gtimin.com and click the Buy Now button at the top. Choose the DVD or the streaming version. Then enter the promo code Newman at the checkout for your 15% discount. That's gtimin.com. Click the Buy Now button at the top, choose the format you wish, and enter the promo code Newman at the checkout to receive our free home educator's kit and 15% off our Thinking Like a Christian Worldview video series. You'll be glad you did.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
The best sleep just got even better. Whether you have a My Pillow or not, you need to get the brand new My Pillow 2.0. Call or go to mypillow.com now. Use your promo code, and for a limited time when you buy one, you'll get a second one absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
Visit mypillow.com.
Welcome back to the Sentinel Report, folks. Our guest today, our second guest, is Ollie London, one of the most recognizable faces on the internet. He's been on all the big shows, Tucker Carlson. He's a regular guest on Fox, Newsmax, OAN, GB News, you name it, he's been there. He actually was convinced to transition to become a Korean K-pop woman star, and then came back to his senses and realized he had been deceived. He's got a book out, Gender Madness, One Man's Devastating Struggle with Woke Ideology and His Battle to Protect Children. Ollie, welcome to the program. It is just great to have you. You're really making a mark with exposing what's going on here. Now, as you know, we've got several states in the United States, more than several at this point, trying to at least protect children from these quacks calling themselves doctors that want to chop off private parts, chop off breasts. Oregon, if you saw our news segment, was the most recent one working on this, trying to prevent efforts to prevent doctors from mutilating children. What do you make of what's happening across the United States right now at the state level?
Well, I do think we are seeing progress. So there's been 20 US states that have banned gender-affirming care within the last year. So I think people are more aware of what's going on right now. But, you know, when you have lobbyists and these medical clinics lobbying Democrat senators in places like Oregon, Washington State, and California, it is very difficult to get legislation passed to protect kids because you know, a lot of these clinics, they hold a lot of power. They donate to these Democrat senators' campaigns. So it is difficult, but we are seeing finally a pushback. People are aware of what's going on. They're speaking up. And, you know, parents are very upset with their children being taken away and transitioned without their consent. So, you know, at least people are waking up finally.
Yeah, and that is happening, folks. Right now in Washington State, they just parents filed another lawsuit. They're saying if you won't affirm your children's delusions, if you won't take them to have their private parts removed, you're abusing them, and the state is going to protect them from you. Ali, how do you address that? Because a lot of parents right now, maybe millions of parents across the Western world, are being told that if you won't affirm your child's gender delusions, right? They're obviously not based in reality, then you're a threat to your children. They might kill themselves, for crying out loud. And so the state then needs to come in and protect your children from you. Is that true? Are kids going to do bad things if their parents don't help them mutilate themselves?
Absolutely not. It's just propaganda. And we see this in California. They are now trying to pass legislation that deems parents child abusers and actually gives the state the power to take away a kid from their parent if the parent does not consent to cutting off their body parts. So it's incredibly wrong. Washington State already has this law. I did testify against it multiple times, but sadly they passed it. So kids in foster care now, or kids can be taken from their parents and medically transitioned, and they call it life-saving care. And it's really not saving lives, actually. It's actually causing a lot more problems, because we have to realize the vast majority of these kids with severe gender dysphoria have a lot of pre-existing conditions. They may be from broken homes. They may have child traumas. A lot of them struggle with autism. So to misdiagnose these kids and tell them that the only way they're going to be happy is cutting up their body and taking hormones is morally wrong. So, we need to stop this right now. And that's why my book, Gender Madness, really is trying to expose this and get people talking about this, because every parent should be speaking up. We shouldn't be scared. We shouldn't be silenced. We all need to speak up right now.
Amen. Ali, you spend a lot of your time in Europe. I know you spend a lot of your time in London. Even the very progressive Western Europe. I just got back from Sweden. A lot of even the very progressive Western nations in Europe are tapping the brakes on this now. They're saying, wait a minute here. We're not just going to just put the kids straight on the operating table. We need to pause and take a breath here. And yet in America, especially in the liberal states, they just got the pedal to the metal. Talk a little bit about why some of these European nations are at least stopping and taking a break here, even as some of our more liberal states in America drive right over the cliff.
Well, Sweden and Finland were once the pioneers in Europe for gender-affirming care and pushing hormones on kids. But they've actually done more long-term research now. There was a clinic, Tampere University in Finland, one of the top clinics in the country. They have actually said it's actually detrimental and harmful to transition kids and put them on hormones, because, most of these kids grow out of it. So the research actually found 85% of teens with very severe gender dysphoria grew out of it, and therefore prescribing them hormones and surgeries simply wasn't the right approach. In my book, Gender Madness, I have all the studies and references backing this up and saying that it is morally wrong to do this. And now the science from long-term data is saying this is harmful. So the US is way behind with this. We have seen successful legislation within the last year, but the fact that the US is the #1 country for child gender transitions, and you have 15-year-olds having double mastectomies, that is so wrong. So we need to look at the more long-term data from Europe, pull that to the US and say enough is enough. No child can be doing this.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more, Ali. I want to ask you, what is driving this? I mean, Martine Rothblatt, one of the big financiers of this movement, has the book out, from transgender to transhuman. I think a lot of these people think they're going to transcend not just their biological sex, but even their humanity. Some of them think that they're going to, merge with computers, all kinds of crazy stuff. And then there's a profit motive. But what do you think is driving this trend? Where's the money coming from? What do these people ultimately want who are advocating that children be subjected to this kind of thing?
I mean, look, if you transition millions of young children, you are sterilizing those children. So it certainly leads into depopulation, because these kids can't have families. And also they're going to be so damaged from mentally and physically, they're not going to be able to function as a normal human being. So they're not even going to be able to contribute to society and to do normal things, because they're so preoccupied with this struggle, these hormones they're on, these drugs they're on. So it really does destroy the entire young generation. And I think it leads to communist agendas, because look, Vladimir Lenin, the Russian dictator, once said, Give me one generation of youth and I can change the world. And it's exactly what they're doing. They've brainwashed an entire generation, Generation Z, with this propaganda, with this indoctrination. So now you can't even say what a woman is. You can't even say, I'm a woman and I do not want you in my restroom. You can't even say that. It's cancelled. So it's really also about taking away people's individual liberties, their free speech, and trying to suppress people speaking common sense. Like, what is a woman? That is now a controversial term, apparently, and it's incredibly wrong. So, of course, the medical establishment profits from this. China is enjoying this. You know, they're pushing this on TikTok. They're seeing the breakdown of the nuclear family and Western society. And, you know, those elites that are in charge, they are also enjoying the breakdown of society. We're too preoccupied fighting over pronouns to actually see what is going on. So, you know, we all need to speak up. And I really appreciate everyone that supports my book, because they've really been trying to cancel me. I've been shadow banned this week on Twitter. I had my billboard pulled from Times Square. Barnes and Nobles are refusing to stock my book in store. It's only available for pickup and collection. So these people, they really are communists and Marxists, and they're trying to silence free speech. They don't want us speaking the truth. So it's very important for us to all speak up. Regardless of how many followers we have, we can all make a difference.
Yeah, that's excellent. And, you know, canceling you, that's interesting. You've got millions of followers across social media. You've got billions of views on the content you've put out there. You know, they can come after people like you. They can come after and squash anybody. Ollie, we're down to just a few minutes left, but your story is fascinating. You recount a lot of this in your book. You know, talk a little bit about how you were convinced to move forward with these surgeries and these hormones and all. How did they sucker you into this? And what was it that caused you to finally say, you know, wait a minute here, I'm not a Korean woman. How did you finally come back to reality, if you will?
Well, it took me a very long time. You know, I struggled with identity for several decades until I realized, you know, this really wasn't making me happy. And you know, it's all too easy to find a doctor out there that will skip and cut corners, that will not do a psychological evaluation. You just pay the money, they will do the surgery. So it's very easy in this modern day to find doctors like that. So I feel like I didn't have a duty of care. You know, I skipped some corners, and it's all too accessible. And I think we need these checks and balances, because so many young people are changing themselves irreversibly. And, you know, there's no way of fixing that. So luckily, I didn't do all of these trans body surgeries, but I did the facial feminization surgery, and I'm left with the scars. But you know, I was very confused. I was bullied as a kid, and now I've been a big user of social media for about 8 years. So that really drove me. And you know, just before I became trans, all I would see on TikTok was trans videos, gender identity. It's totally okay to change your gender. This is who you're meant to be. And I saw these people getting validation. So that really spurred me on with this. And it seems like a message I was getting, that you must be trans. Everything was telling me to be trans. So I did it. And then after a period of time, I realized this is making me more unhappy. And, you know, I need to find the real me that's trapped inside. So you know, I actually managed to find God. I managed to find faith. And that was pivotal in helping me turn my life around. So, you know, I discussed this in the book, Gender Madness. And I really hope this book helps a lot of people and answers their questions about where is this gender ideology coming from, and how can we fight back to protect children.
Yeah, praise the Lord that you came out of that and are now sounding the alarm. And you know, more and more people are now starting to publicly say, hey, I got duped, and they just rushed me into this, and it seemed like they all wanted to make money. Ollie, in the last couple minutes, final thoughts for parents out there. You know, obviously the social media companies are promoting this stuff. I mean, TikTok's algorithm seemed like almost designed to draw your kids, at least for Americans and Westerners. They certainly don't do that in, you know, China and other places. But how do parents protect their children from this madness?
But I think we do need to limit what kids see online, because it isn't helpful for a kid to spend 3-4 hours a day on TikTok. So I think parents need to have some controls. And there are applications they can do to have parental control so they can see what their kid is accessing. You know, encourage kids to do other things. Go and play soccer. Go and, you know, go for a hike, you know, with your parents. Do something fun, and that's going to help them learn skills. Read a book, you know, things like that. So I think parents need to rely less on technology. And, you know, it's hard as a parent because they have, you know, jobs. They're tired at the end of the day. They just want to give their kid a phone. But try to avoid that. Try to do something else with your kid that engages them, that teaches them skills. And be very aware of what's being taught in schools, because a lot of this ideology is being pushed in the schools, in the classrooms, and parents need to be going to all the school board meetings. If they see anything unusual, speak up and say to the teacher, this is not right. You shouldn't be doing this to my kid. And as a last resort, I mean, if this school is really pushing the trans indoctrination, you're going to have to pull your kid out of that school, and whether you do homeschooling or find a school that isn't pushing this, because it really is dangerous, you know, if your kid suddenly has their body parts cut off because of what this school is pushing them. So just parents, be more aware, keep an eye, do some research, and know the signs to look out for.
Yeah, I've been encouraging parents for years now, get your kids out. And a lot of times the schools are deliberately hiding this from parents. Plus, it's coming in through social media. It's coming in through entertainment. Your kids are just being bombarded with it. Ali, best place to get your book, Gender Madness, One Man's Devastating Struggle with Woke Ideology and His Battle to Protect Children. What's the best way for people to get that?
So it's on Amazon right now. It's also on Walmart, Barnes & Noble's website, Books A Million as well. But yeah, I really appreciate the support because they are trying to silence me. They won't stop my book in stores because it's about protecting kids. Apparently that's controversial, and Twitter has shadow banned me. So please, any support, and also giving a review is important because these trans activists, they've been giving so many one-star reviews trying to get this book cancelled. So giving an honest review is also really important. So I appreciate all the support. God bless.
Hey, God bless you too. Thank you so much, Ali London. And you know what? I've experienced that myself. The wackadoodles come out and they give you all these one-star reviews and they say the book's terrible. They've obviously never read it. Folks, it's, I don't know what else to say. We are in a battle for our children, for our families, for our churches, for our communities, for our liberties, for our country, for common sense, and it is all on the line. We have got to get busy and stand up. Stay tuned if you're watching this live. Roger Stone is up next with the Stone Zone. Folks, stay tuned right here to wherever you're watching us. Thanks again for watching. I'm Alex Newman. This is the Sentinel Report. Until next time, God bless you all.